Hey everyone, recently I saw this video right here by Ali Abdaal about the GPS method, and it was a method to help us with our goals. And in his video, he does a really good job of breaking it all down on how to do it for any business or any goal that you have. But in this video, I wanted to use what he taught there specifically for print on demand, and more specifically the goal of making $10,000 a month with print on demand by the end of 2026. I know a lot of people want to start print on demand or are doing print on demand, and I think using this GPS method can really help. So I'm going to try my best to keep to what he said and go along with the things that he taught and use it for print on demand to help all of us get a good year next year, 2026, with print on demand. So basically the GPS method is GPS, goals, plans, systems, and I'm going to go through all three of those. And what's even better is that Ali Abdaal and his team made a GPT to help with this. So I actually went through it. You can sign up through that video that I showed you and do it yourself, but I'm going to show you what I did and some of the steps, and hopefully this video isn't very long, so I'm going to go through all of these here. But before I do that, I want to share one quote that I really like that he said on his video, and that is, "Every goal you want to accomplish is merely a series of tasks or actions that you do." Now, I think that's really obvious, but I think it's really important to know that with the right tasks and right actions, you can reach any goal. Now, there's two things that might be stopping you. First, you may not know what those tasks and actions are, so I'm going to try and help you with that because I've been doing print on demand for a long time. And the second is you're not actually doing those tasks. So either you don't know what to do or you're not actually doing those. And we're going to try and help you with that in this video with the GPS method. So let's get into the first letter, which is G for goals. Now, I plugged in this right here to the GPS blueprint that Ali had on his site, his link on his site, and the goal that I put in here, now you can adjust this, but I want to be a print-on-demand seller in 2026 and make money online selling t-shirts on either Amazon Merch on Demand, Etsy, or Shopify, because I think those are the big three, and eventually make $10,000 a month by the end of the year. So November, December, Q4, starting now with nothing, or maybe you already have some things, and getting to a place where you can make that much money. And I think we can do this, but it's going to take a lot of work, and I'll show you what kind of work it actually takes, that I think it takes to get to that point. Now, the platforms I'm going to use here are Amazon Merch, Etsy, and Shopify, but really I only know about Amazon, so I'm going to focus mainly on that. If you want to learn more about Etsy and Shopify, I would suggest watching some other videos with some other YouTubers that do that. I personally am going to try with Shopify with a lot of help from Chris Heckman, and I've been doing a little bit on Etsy. So I think a lot of these things can work for the other two, but mainly going forward from here, I'm going to say these are the things I know that would help with Amazon Merch on Demand. So the goal part can be broken up into three different things, or three different sections. The first is the goal itself, the what. The next is the why. So why do you want to do this goal? In this case, I wrote down, so I can have more financial and time freedom and make print on demand my new business instead of a 9-to-5, which I already did, but I know a lot of people have that as a goal. So I put that down as the goal. I think instead of just making it a money goal, tying in the freedom and time freedom goal, I think that's really important there, just so you know what you're doing this for. I think if you just did it for money or fame or whatever, you may give up, but having a really good why will keep you going. So you can see in his app, it broke it down here. Gain financial independence, achieve time flexibility and freedom, and replace the 9-to-5 job with a self-run business. And I think that's something that's achievable that you can do, especially if you can get to $10,000 a month starting the next year. So eventually get there, not starting here and just quitting your job and going for it. I think eventually when you get to a point where you're bringing in enough money to replace your job, that's when you would do it. The third part of G of goals is Ali said to write down anti-goals. What will avoid, or what are the things that you don't want to do when you're doing this? So for me, I wrote down, I don't want to work on Sundays. You could say don't want to work on the weekends. I want to give at least one day for family day, and Sunday's the best one. I don't want to be super strict on my schedule. I want to give some flexibility to family time. Family time and family priorities come first. And I don't want to stay up later than 10:30 p.m. Now you can make your own things that these are kind of non-negotiable stuff that you don't want to do in your goals. So this is really important, the things that you're not willing to sacrifice. These are some of mine. I put family time and family priorities come first, but you can put whatever you want in here. I think this is just an example of some of the things. Yours may be different. So those were all the G parts, the goal parts. The next part is the plan. This is very important because this is kind of the in-between the goals and the systems. The plan will help you get to your goal. So let's do the plan part here. There are also 3 major parts in the plan. Now this is where I think it gets really hard. What do you do? This is the what of the plan. I wrote down some things that I think can help. So you can see here in number 4 in his app, it says the plan, major moves. So first thing, I think you need to do the research. You need to research every week. It's going to change weekly. There's going to be new trends, and that's why I think you should research every week. I put down research 10 different kinds of designs and topics people like to buy on t-shirts each week. Now, I'm not going to show you how to do that, but I think that's really important. There's lots of apps, and I'll go over in my videos in the next year on how to do good research. There's lots of ways, there's lots of apps out there, and there's lots of people that actually share what's trending too on YouTube, so you can find that. The next thing I wrote down here is create designs consistently. So create 5 to 20 designs that people want to buy each week. So I know that's a lot, but that's kind of what it takes to get to a point where you're going to get 10K a month. You're going to have to get about 1,000 designs by the end of the year. And just breaking that up into weeks, this is kind of how much you need. You need about 20 designs a week to get to 1,000. So I know that sounds like a lot, but this is an average. I think in the first month or so, you're still kind of getting there, but maybe a little later you'll be faster. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of what it takes to get there. And if that's not something you can do, it's probably going to push your 10K a month a lot further out. So it's just going to push your time. The faster you can get to more designs and really good designs, the faster you'll get to your goal. The next thing is not only creating those designs, but you're going to have to upload those designs. So upload all those 5 to 20 designs weekly as well. And the last thing I put in here that you'll need to do is to keep track of what's selling and not selling, and make more designs of the ones that's selling. So you're gonna, as you create these designs, you're gonna find that the majority of them won't sell, but there are gonna be a few that are selling, and those are your winners. And you're gonna have to learn how to design for those winners. So if, for example, this corgi right here that I made, if that was a winner, and it was, I made more of it. So I had a cat eating ramen and a panda eating ramen, or a corgi doing something else, like just doing more of something that's working. Now, that was a long time ago, so that's not something I would suggest you do. Don't just copy a panda or a corgi eating ramen. You're gonna have to base it off of the things that you saw that are selling for you. So the 3 to 5 major moves are part 1 of the plan. Part 2 of the plan, according to Ollie, is to figure out if these are realistic goals or these goals that actually would work in theory. And I've been doing this a long time for print on demand, and yes, I think in theory this will work, depending on if you can get the designs that people actually want to buy, assuming that part, and adding all the different designs and uploading all those designs. I think that's, in theory, could work. Now, realistically, how realistic is this for you? For me, I can add 5 to 20 designs a week. You'll have to ask yourself, is that something you can do realistically, and write down that percentage. So I put 90% on both of these, but realistically, how hard is this for you to do? If it's too hard, you might have to scale back, and maybe even scale back the goal itself. And the last part of the plan, according to Ollie, is the crystal ball method. Basically, looking into the future and figuring out what are some things that might be holding you back, and then also adjusting for those. So for me, I wrote down this right here. Let me scroll up. It says potential obstacles. So the crystal ball method, this is what I think were the top 3 risks. I wrote these down. They didn't tell me these. I actually, with my experience in it, I think one of the reasons is you could be falling behind on downloads or design uploads. It's hard to keep up with designs. Now, one of the things that I think that you can do for this is get help with uploading, or have a schedule for uploading as well. So if uploading is the most important and you need that time, maybe you can schedule it before going to work if you have a 9 to 5, or right before bed, sometime where you have time for yourself, and you can actually do this. So scheduling will really help with this, having a time where you will upload and create designs. Another obstacle that I think people run into when doing print on demand is, how do you come up with ideas? I'm stuck at getting ideas. Now, one way that you can do this is always set a time to look at what sells when you're going out, to take some notes. When you're at Target or Walmart and see t-shirts, take some notes. I also put on here, find some apps that help as well. So I've been talking about Profit Tree. I've also talked about Flying Upload or Flying Research. Those are some apps that can help you research on Profit Tree for Etsy and Flying Research for Amazon, and so on. So there's apps out there that help, and there's also a lot of, like I said, YouTubers that talk about trends and things that are trending right now, or things that are selling. And the last thing is also losing time to other priorities. I know people get busy, and this is as well. Just get busy doing things. So this is the third obstacle that I think that might happen for someone trying print on demand. And I would also say scheduling again. So this goes back to scheduling a time, putting it on your calendar. I know when I had a 9 to 5, I would get up really early and do that, like do the first 2 hours of my day as doing print on demand when nobody's awake, and I can have my own time and do all those things. So scheduling a time again for this one is really important. Now, there may be some other obstacles that you may think of. Put that right in there and think of ways that you can overcome those obstacles before they become an obstacle, and then that would help you with your plan of getting to your goal. All right, the last part is system, the S, GPS system. So this one in his blueprint, we talked about reminders. So there's 3 things in the system part as well: tracking, reminders, and accountability. So they kind of put it in a different order here, but I'm going to do reminders first. So I can get help or schedule time so that I can keep up with adding lots of designs. I can look at data or get apps to help with knowing what designs to make. I can add time in my schedule, possibly the morning before everyone is up, so that I will have time to get things done. So that is a reminder to myself of what things that I can do to help me with this system, with the GPS system, to get my goal of getting 10K a month with print on demand. Now, how about tracking? Tracking is a way so that you can write these things down. Things that are tracked will get improved, and that's kind of the idea. And he talked about just by writing things down and tracking things, it will show improvement or help you with improvement. So for those of you that maybe keep track of your calories or keep track of your exercise, you know that how much that helps. This is keeping track of what you're selling. So on print on demand, one of the things that I think you should keep track of is track how many designs and uploads you have done, because that's a big thing. We're trying to reach 1,000 designs by the end of the year, and keeping track of how many things you've uploaded will really help with that motivation, kind of ticking that off. Now the goal, so the goal is 1,000 designs a year, like I said. Now we could also keep track of sales. Now I know you're not going to get sales right away, but I wrote this down. You need about 2,000 to 2,500 designs or sales in a month to make 10K a month, and that's with an average of about $5 per sale. Now if you're selling on Etsy or Shopify, you may need a little less because your profit margin is going to be a lot bigger. You may get $8 to $10 per sale or more, but on Amazon you're probably only going to get $4 to $6 per sale. Some people can go higher, but that's about the average. So I put $5 per sale, and 5 times 2,000 will give you around there 10,000. So keep that in mind. You're not going to get that the very first month. We're going to work up to it, but keeping track of your sales from month to month can kind of get you on the way of, you know, what's selling, and how to improve on that number. And the third part of the system is the accountability. I could post my progress on social media or write it down on a notepad. Just have a way for you to be accountable. This is why having a community or a group of people that you're working with can really be powerful, because you are sharing that with each other and you're accountable with a mentor or with other people in the group to help with that. So if you need to tell somebody, put it on, you can talk it over with your friends, your spouse, your boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever. I think just having somebody that you're accountable to, that you're, yes, I did this many designs. Yes, I uploaded this many things. Either writing that in your book or something like that. The accountability really helps you kind of keep motivated. All right, so the last thing here, this is the whole GPS method. The very last thing that the blueprint did on Ali's thing. I'll put that link again in my video, but this is what it said to do. Now we have actual tasks to do. So next actions, what to do this week. Block out dedicated design time. That's what I'm saying. Add specific design sprint sessions to your calendar. If you're using a digital calendar, or if you have just a paper calendar, write that down. Next, you're going to need to research and list trends. Now, this is very important. I would say research on a Monday. If you're taking that Sunday off, come back on a Monday, use that Monday morning or that Monday time to do the research. Write all these things down. Look at like maybe 10 different ones, like I said, and get some ideas on Monday, and then use the rest of the week to create designs and upload. So I think that's a great schedule to keep. I'm going to show you how to do that in later videos, but I think that's going to be key, is to get the research done first so that you know what you're designing throughout the week. And last, start designing and tracking. So create and upload your first 5 to 20 designs that we're going to do this week or coming week, starting in the new year. And then set up a tracking system, a spreadsheet or a journal or something. It can just be even a notebook to record daily design/upload numbers. So I'm going to be working on my 2026 calendar that I'll put in the downloads. Keep a lookout for that. But you can get any calendar. I would say to keep track per week instead of per month. I'm going to try and do a weekly download as well, so you just have a Sunday through Saturday week so that you can kind of look at that. That's what I do on mine. So I have this, I just got this from Amazon, which says best week ever, and you can write down, it just has really nice notes. I'll put a link to this too in the description, but it's really easy. You don't have to make it complicated. I think that was like less than $10. So, and that's for a whole year of weeks. So do something like that. You can get even a cheap notebook. It doesn't have to be very expensive. Just have a way. You can even write it on your phone. It doesn't have to be paper. I'm old school and do paper, but if you want to keep it on your computer in your notes or on your phone or whatever, just keeping track can really help with knowing where to go and how well you're doing against your goals. So don't give up. If you really want to do print on demand for 2026, I think this is the blueprint, the GPS blueprint. Hopefully this was really helpful. You can make your own as well, but it's going to take a lot of work. If you want to do 10K a month, it's a lot of design. So if you want to do less than that, it's less designs. But basically, the hardest part is just starting and figuring out what to design, finding out what people actually want to buy, and creating that. And I'll make sure to make more videos for that in the future. Hopefully this video is really helpful for you to know what the GPS method is. I think it can help with anything that you have a goal for, whether it being for fitness or business or anything. I did it for this print on demand, but you can do it for whatever. Make sure to follow that link I'll put in the description where you can follow Ali Abdal's one for this. Now his is not just for print on demand. You can use it for another thing, like you see on here where it says new goal. It can be any goal that you want for 2026. So I think that can be really powerful. Thanks again for watching. I'll put my latest video right here about my print on demand survey to know if you can take that to know if doing print on demand in 2026 is something for you. You can see all the questions there. Thanks again for watching, and as always, keep creating and keep learning. I'll see you on the next one.